come a little closer and lend me your ears. Don't worry, you keep yours while I keep mine.
In each episode, we'll dig into the major stories, uncover the truth, and retrieve gems from Yada's blog.
We'll discuss what's right, bark about what's wrong, wag our tails at the thrill of discovery, and take you on adventures through the exciting world we live in today. So, fasten your curiosity leash and get ready.
Right then, coming to you with another episode of the Yada's Vlog on a Blog. Tomorrow's news, disseminated today. Let's dive in.
Well, welcome to the Vlog on the Vlog. This is a very special edition of the Vlog on the Vlog. We're going to be able to review what I think is a magnificent production. It's called Dust to Fire, and we have Deepa as our very special guest. It's my first time actually to be able to talk directly to you. First time actually to meet you in person. Welcome to the Covenant family. Welcome to the Vlog on the Vlog. Welcome, my friend.
Nice to meet you, Yada.
It's really a thrill. This took some doing to get you on the program. It was something that I've been requesting now, I guess for a month since we debuted this song. I am more impressed with the lyrics of this song and the visuals that support it than anything we have done over the last 20 years. This is, I think, it's the epitome of the projection of the message we're trying to convey. So being able to show this and have you walk us through some of your thoughts as you produced it is something that means a lot to me. But before we start playing the song, Deepa, I know you now live in the United States. I believe it's New York area. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I understand that you are a software developer?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of software do you develop?
Mostly web software. I used to do desktop software, but these days it's all web.
Okay. And what kind of web development is your specialty?
I work at the back end mostly.
Okay.
But I do UI development as well.
Okay. So you're on more complex websites for companies in particular or institutions of some sorts. You are working on the back end to give their websites some interest and additional capability.
Yes.
Do you work as part of a company, or are you a freelance in this regard?
Freelance.
Freelance.
Yes.
Okay.
Currently, my day job is more of support. I'm just supporting software. That's my day job. But freelance, I build software. Okay.
All right. So you have you work two jobs, if you will. One is solving problems that of existing software designs, and in your own free time, you are a freelance web developer.
Yes.
Oh boy, that's you probably shouldn't have admitted that, because I might try to take advantage of that. That may not be the smartest thing you ever did, right there, my friend. I like your smile, though. All right, so how long have you known Yahweh?
Well, that's actually a long time. I would say, like I said, I stumbled across Yada Yahweh site like 20 years ago. So that was when I actually knew that God's name is Yahweh.
Yes.
But prior to that, I've always had, this issue with, because my background, I was exposed a lot to religion and all of that. So I was a Christian. I attended so many churches. But even as a kid, I've always had issues with. I've read the Bible a lot of times, so many times, but I've always had issues with, what they preach in the churches and what I read in the Bible. I will read mostly, like the Old Testament, and then I will read the New Testament, and I'll say these things are not adding up.
Yeah, they're
Then I
not
would,
consistent.
yes, I will read some parts. They will mention Lord, then they will mention God. So I was wondering which is which. At times it looks like they are talking about the same person. At times it looks like they are talking about two different people. So
Yes.
I've always had all those, issues with religion, So, but while I was uh, trying to get to know, God, because I
Mhm.
knew what I'm used to, what I'm exposed to. I didn't, I wasn't really sure that's the real God. So I
Mhm.
wanted to. It has always been my desire to know God.
Mhm.
So it was when I was trying to, I guess, do some research that I stumbled across a site, and I started reading, and immediately I knew, this is it, because it's just different, from, and there are many things that you said that was actually what I felt it should be, you know. I because when I read the Bible, I would say, what are they saying here? I feel I wasn't really agreeing with them, but when I read, you know, um, your book, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the books were in PDF then. I think it was just right there on the site. So, I re-
Mhm.
yeah. So I read, and I just fell in love with it, and that was it. So I would say like 20 years ago.
Was the fact that the books were free in their entirety, was that made them more inviting?
Well. Yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe
It just
because
because the only reason I ask it, it has nothing to do with money. It
yeah,
has really to
yeah,
do with, are you trying to, as a person trying to make a living, trying to sell you something, or are they
yeah.
offering what they've come to know free? It's a very different attitude. And,
Yes,
there are
definitely.
people who, when they're given something free, they don't have any respect for it. They wonder what the person's motive. And there's, sometimes people prefer to pay. I'm just curious what the mindset was. Were you comfortable that the entire thing was being offered free? Was that add credibility or take credibility away?
No, I was actually comfortable with it. When I found the site, I actually felt like it was like God directed me to the
Mm,
site. So I wasn't really
yeah.
bothered whether it's free or I was paying for it. I just knew this is like the truth, because what I've always said is, and like I said, I attended a lot of churches. In one of the churches, because we had you know uh, prophets, they call themselves prophets, and they actually saw a vision. They said I was going to be, it was me and my brother. They said I was going to be a prophet as well, and my brother
Mm,
too was going to be a pastor too.
mm,
But then I was very young, and I remember what I said was that if I'm going to talk about God, it's going to be the truth. Because as
mm.
young as I was then, I knew all this religion thing is not really true. I've always had, that issue with it. So it was more like God was directing me. So when I saw, I can't remember what I was searching for actually. I was searching for something, and then um, I stumbled across the site, and I just kept reading. You know, I just
We
kept reading.
are a lot alike. I was also a Christian as a very young man. Obviously, I'm not anymore. Vehemently opposed to the religion, and have written 5 books in opposition to it, proving it to be invalid. And when I was a Christian, I was constantly told by everyone who was associated with anything I was doing that I was going to be whether it's a prophet or just extraordinary leader within the church. And, I was the youngest ordained ruling elder in the Presbyterian Church. I spoke to thousands and thousands of people. I was a trained evangelist. And so I had a similar experience. But my problem was that the more I tried to fit into that mold, the less comfortable I became, because I could not resolve the conflicts. And the conflicts were overwhelming. It's like you were talking about the fact that you'd read what people refer to as the Old Testament. It isn't the Old Testament, the Torah, prophets, and Psalms, and what is referred to as the New Testament. And it's not a testament at all. And the fact is, they're incongruent. And it's an interesting incongruence, though. And this is the problem I had. The Torah, prophets, and Psalms doesn't give two craps about the New Testament. Doesn't talk about it. Doesn't say anything about, says nothing about a Jesus. It says nothing about a Mr. Christ. It says nothing about an arrival of a Messiah in this regard. It doesn't talk about a New Testament. There is nothing in the Torah, prophets, and Psalms that speaks of what's got tacked on to the end of it. So the Torah, prophets, and Psalms stands on its own.
Yes.
And it uses prophecy to prove that it's legit. And it does that.
Yes.
The New Testament is nothing but a contradiction and a refutation of it. But the problem with the New Testament is that it is wholly dependent on the Torah, prophets, and Psalms for its legitimacy. It has no God. It has no creation. It has no prophecy. It has no legitimacy without the Torah, prophets, and Psalms. So it's entirely dependent upon the Torah, prophets, and Psalms for its credibility. And yet it contradicts it in every possible way. And every time it refers to it, it misquotes it. Now, if you're being just relentlessly rational, you'd have to say then there's a 0% possibility that the New Testament is true. You cannot contradict the basis of your religion and claim that your religion is true. I mean, it is as simple as that. You don't have to go beyond that. And that's where I got with Christianity, as I realized there were 20 major contradictions of the Torah, prophets, and Psalms that could not be justified, that any one of which and all of which together prove that there was no Jesus, that Paul made it up. It's nothing but a pile of lies. Now, I didn't know at the time, do now, that the pile of lies was all based upon identity theft. And it was Dode that they were robbing. And that made God really, really mad. But you sound like you were really close to the same intellectual analysis of what was going on.
Yeah. I knew reading the Bible, I knew, these things are not right. I knew, that Dode, David, we call him David. I knew that Dode said things because, in Nigeria, the religions, we read a lot of Psalms. And they read the Psalms like it's like like when you're sick, you go to the doctor, they diagnose, and they tell you take this drug 3 times a day. That's the way they prescribe the Psalms.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of like rabbinic Judaism. That's all their prayers are the Psalms.
Yeah,
they just have no idea what they say.
Exactly. So when they direct you and say, okay, read maybe Psalm 91. And then you try to, whatever you read there, you try to link that to yourself. If the Psalm, if they are talking about blessings, you try to say, okay, yeah, those blessings come to me. But if you are talking about curses, you try to say, no, that's not my portion. So I had issues with all those things. I said, I don't think this is what these, these books that they're asking us to read. I don't think that's what this is saying. There is a lot of contradictions. So
yes,
so that's it. I've always had that issue.
Yeah, because if you read the Psalms, Dode, who is now called David, but Dode is called emphatically the Son of God. He's called emphatically the Messiah. We read that he is the chosen one.
Yes.
God defines him as the Savior for having enabled the covenant. And so he is the person that who was robbed to create this myth of Jesus. Yeah, it's an amazing thing that people don't see. I mean, he even spoke of his own crucifixion in the 22nd Mizmor.
Yes, and
Yeah.
and when we read all of that, back in Nigeria, they read it like you are actually talking about your enemies, and that's where I have issues, because they would say, okay, they want God to fight your enemies, and then I would say, but your enemies are God's creation. Why do you want God to fight your fight creations like you? So I always have that issue, because they will pray serious prayers, do night vigil and all that, fight.
Yes.
You have to rebuke your enemy, and then they will be citing those psalms, and I knew something wasn't just right.
Yeah. And you're going to go, the first psalm you mentioned is the 91st. And that, by the way, is the psalm that resonated more with me in my early process 25 years ago now. That was the psalm that was in my pocket when I told Yahweh, I'll do this, but we have to have some ground rules here. We've got to, I have to have some expectations. And that's when the 91st psalm was there in my pocket, and it answered all three of them. The purpose of that psalm isn't for us to go fight our enemies. The purpose of the psalm is for Yahweh to protect those who choose to work with him. Yeah. If you're going to choose to do something God wants, he's going to protect you so that you can do that job. That's the whole gist of that psalm. It's not to empower somebody to go after their enemies.
Exactly. So they just mess up the whole thing, and it's just funny.
And you were in a culture that is hugely Christian. Nigeria is about 80% Christian, with there's enclaves now that are trying to tear it apart, of Boko Haram fundamentalist Muslims that are kidnapping Christian girls and doing all manner of terrible things. But for the most part, it's not just a Christian culture. It's from what I can tell, it's a Christian culture that is heavily driven by women.
Yeah, of course. Religion is over. Women drive religion.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And in that culture, it's really it is a woman. You look at who is driving the religion, who is determining you need to go to church. It's the women, isn't it?
It is. It's the women.
Yeah, but it's pretty much inseparable from Nigerian culture, isn't it? Christianity is interwoven into it pretty deeply.
Yes. Well, I would say that we are pretty much like a balance of Islam and Christianity.
Okay, so it's more. There is more Islam today than there is. Okay. Yeah, so Islam has grown to the point where Christianity is more still a majority religion, but not by much.
Yes, and in Nigeria, it's we have this divide. It's not really a physical divide, but we have the South that is Christian, and then we have the North that is Muslim. Yes. So we have all of those states in the North, mostly Muslim.
Okay. And would it be true to say that in the Christian South, Christianity is more pervasive in the society than it is in America by a significant margin?
Well, I would say it is, and that is because of the poverty. People are always looking for, they're looking for a Messiah. I'm poor. Somebody needs to save me. And Christianity preaches that a lot. So they go to the churches for
your life is miserable. You're poor, and you're looking for some answer So it can't be your fault, and your life is miserable. So that's always been the sell point in religion. Yes, your life is miserable, but if you pay us, if you obey us, we'll promise you a better life in the next life.
That's it.
Okay, yeah, that's powerful. And the thing that resonated the most with you sounds like it's the same as resonated with me. As I was translating the first books and writing the first books, you go back now 20 years. So, I've only began this 5 years before you did. But that first 5 years was prominently focused on exposing and condemning Islam, which probably resonates with you because you were exposed to it. But what I found, and the thing that drove me, was that everything I uncovered about God was consistent with what I thought he had to be like. For example, one of the first things I learned is that there are three options for human souls. Most simply cease to exist at the end of their mortal life. No penalty, no reward. And some that have led others astray and have been ruthless, that they have a place called Sheol that they go to, but you will have chosen it. If you go there, it's a very religious or political place. And then there is the covenant, where God is offering a very small percentage of people who accept his terms the opportunity to exist with him and to be empowered by that process. And I know that even to this day, I'm the only person who has recognized that and talked about it. And yet it's one of those things where if you're a thinking, rational individual, you're going to say, that's exactly as God should be.
Yeah. That actually resonated with me, when I read it, because one thing you wonder is, okay, you say God is good, but you see babies getting killed, without, what would you say they have done, to have them killed like that? You see a lot of things happen, and then you begin to wonder, why will God allow all of this to happen? So when I read that part where you said, it's we're looking at three parts. If you don't know God, you just it's just dust to dust. So
right, dust to dust.
Yeah. So when I
to fire, dust to dust.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So when I read that part, definitely it resonated with me, because I already was fighting, the initial, things that I was used to. So
right. And of course, that whole process of blaming God for the death of the innocent 2-year-old is an irrational argument, because if you were to paint your God into a position where there could be no harm to anyone at any age for any reason, and therefore no one would ever die, no one would ever suffer, no one would ever get disease, because if you're going to take the 2-year-old that was innocent, that lost their life, there is no place where you can say, what about the 3-year-old, the 4-year-old, the 5-year-old, the 20-year-old? If you're going to live forever because God's not going to allow anyone to die, then it would be the 200-year-old. And then it would be, well, how much trouble could they be in before God would say, well, you no longer deserve to live forever or to have my providence on you? And wouldn't you at some point just realize that that's a sham, and that you'd be nothing but a puppet, and that you would have no option for doing anything but what God ordered you to do, because he wouldn't allow you to harm yourself or anybody else? I mean, it turns into nothing but mush when you try that argument. And that's an argument that is proposed by so many unthinking people. But the other argument that's promoted by most racists is that, not racist, but atheists, is that if God says you'll either love me and obey me, or I'm going to torture you forever in hell, he wouldn't be lovable, or even somebody you'd want to be anywhere near. And the 3 destinations for human souls certainly solves that problem.
Yeah.
Well, and what caused you then, after 11 years, you knew Yahweh, and you were reading the books of Yada Yahweh for 11 years before then you moved to the United States?
Yes.
And what caused you to leave Nigeria and come here? Well, not here because I don't live in the United States anymore. Excuse me, my legacy, but to come to the U.S.
Well, it's just more like greener pastures.
Okay.
I got married in 2012, and
Okay.
when you get married, you start noticing that you have. I was doing good, but I noticed that you need to find a way to think of when you start having kids, you need to have a better future for them and all that.
Yes.
So yeah, it was more like that. Things were happening, but it was that decision that let's just see what we can do. And I'm actually someone that I've always wondered why I have to be a Nigerian. Why was I born in Nigeria, and why do
Yes.
I have to stay in Nigeria? I could be anywhere. So I'm that kind of person. So I just
Okay.
felt at some point that
Yeah, and the interesting thing about America is that with all of those claiming that America is this racist nation that has no upward mobility and that it's somehow conniving against minorities. If you look at the world at large and you look at the history of the world, almost all civilizations in world history had caste systems. Didn't matter where you were, whether it was in Africa or South America, Central America, or the Mediterranean, or in Asia. Every culture had a caste system. And if you were not in the upper caste, you had no upward mobility. So, for a recorded history that goes back 6,000 years, of 5,800 of it, if I was, tried to go into Egypt, for example, I would have no upward mobility. As a Celt, if I went to go to Rome, I'm at the lowest rung of that caste system, and there's no way for me to move up.
Yeah.
And for all of its flaws, and it's got a lot of them. I mean, today it's rife with them. But with all of its flaws, America actually created the most upwardly mobile society as a merit-based society that the world has probably ever known.
yes, that's true.
And you actually recognize it, having coming here and seen that it's based upon your merit, you can achieve here.
Yes.
Yeah. So all my frustration with America, I still have to admit that it opened up new ground for upward mobility of people based upon achievement and merit that had been unknown in the history of the world.
Yeah, because here, regardless of what you do, you at least get paid, something that you can live by, and then you could grow yourself.
Right.
In Nigeria, you have to be like before you could say you are comfortable, you have to be like starting from like middle class. You have to be earning a lot. If you're doing menial jobs, there's nothing. You can't really grow. So you need like a society that allows that recognizes when people are really trying and the opportunities are there and you can move. So yes.
Yeah. And by the way, I kind of equate in some ways Yahweh's covenant to a meritocracy too. He's looking for us to make a contribution. And if you make a contribution, the more you're willing to engage with him and make a contribution, the more attention he's going to pay to you, and the more he's going to enable you to succeed. It's kind of like what that whole 91st Psalm was all about. And I'm going to conclude, and you can try to prove me wrong if you want to, but I'm going to conclude that Yahweh did invite you into the yadaya.com website because you had talent and you had the right attitude, and he knew that you were somebody who could make a contribution, and he values people that are bright and are willing to make a contribution. And Dust to Fire here is one such example. This is absolutely brilliant. I think we're going to be watching and enjoying Dust to Fire for the next 1,000 years.
Thank you. And really, the way you spoke about it the first time it was played, it just got to me like, oh, so you really love this, but I just thought
I'm actually looking at it as I'm kind of a one-track guy. Some time ago when I went off anonymity, because when you met me 20 years ago online, I was totally anonymous. I wrote under Yada. I was totally and completely anonymous. And, I spent my time writing and sharing, but, that was about it. I wasn't exposed. And then when Yahweh exposed me and said, this anonymous thing, I know you like it and all, but we're not going to be anonymous anymore. And then he began to heap all these different titles and responsibilities. And somewhere along the way here, fairly recently, I've just realized, why don't I just check my free will at the door? I'll just consider me yours. I'll just do whatever you want, and you've given you a pretty good idea here. You've written the playbook. This is what you want. And so I look at now everything as a fulfillment of his mission to finally break through to his people and get a remnant in the end. And the remnant's not for him. The remnant's not even for us. The remnant is because he has a firstborn. Started all the way back in Adam and in Eden with Adam. That's his firstborn. And goes through that upheaval of Dode, of the shepherd boy that became king. And that then fulfilled Pesach, Metz, and Bakura, manned up, and is going to come back. And Yahweh wants his son to be an heir and to be king. And guess what? Can't be king without a kingdom. Yes. And so I just have gotten right down to the very basics of our existence now as covenant is to enable what God has been striving for, which is for this remnant to be the subjects of Dode. So his son has the inheritance of being king, and the benefit for us, other than seeing king and God happy, is that the covenant members who are part of that process prior to that event taking place in 2033, we are going to be empowered and enriched beyond our imagination into the seventh dimension so that we can perform that job going over the next 1,000 years. And I see what you did here twofold. I think it, between Leah's lyrics and your visuals, it strongly empowers and enables the covenant family to recognize who they are. Okay, because we are all dust to fire. And I'll explain that in a moment. We are all dust to fire. She won't explain her lyrics, although I pulled out a little bit of it this morning before she walked out. She's now giggling in the background because she just walked in, Depot. But the second thing is, what we're trying to do is encourage this mortal remnant of Yisrael to do the same thing. Come out of the dust and enjoy the fire. And so I look at what you have done as being an enormous enabler, along with my wife, of making both of those two missions far more prevalent, far more real, far more available. You are an enabler of the two great missions. Equip the covenant family so we can do the job, and encourage a mortal remnant of Yisrael to fulfill that responsibility of becoming Dode's kingdom. You're able to see it in the same light, but that's how I see it. I see you making that contribution.
Thank you.
So it isn't so much that I love it. I do. Okay, so I do. That's true. I do. Intellectually, I find it very stimulating, and emotionally, I find it very satisfying. So it's true. I do. But my primary reason that I wanted to do this with you and to show it is because I think it is the best, most important tool we have thus far after 25 years of doing this. The single most effective tool is this song and the way you guys collaborated together. I think it tells the whole story. That's why I think I think this is going to be our theme song for 1,000 years. All right. So, Kevin, you're still listening there. Thank you very much for setting this up so that we can be doing this. I do want now to play aspects of this song. I'll raise my hand when it's time to stop it, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on. We do have now Leah here, and she is actually on a mic. And so let's talk about how some of this came into being. Before you play the first second, Kevin, and you can do that here just in a moment. Dust to Fire. The Invisible Man. Dust to Fire.
Play that tune.
Okay, Dust. Adam is Yahweh's firstborn in the garden. 6 lives all total, perfect for man, right? And he is coming back essentially as fire, as radiant energy and light. God says he's coming back as brilliant as the sun. He is coming back as Elion. By the way, he's not coming back any different than you and I are going to be. Deepa. We're also going from dust to fire. Physical, material, and not bodies that have really no value. Easily replaceable, easily improvable. I mean, you may be 6'4" right now, and you may want to come back at 6'6". You know, I'm 6 feet, and I'm going to come back as at least at 6'4", and I'm going to be in a whole lot better shape than I am now. I'm going to design a better body than I've got right now. Yeah, but that body, even when we design a new body, it's going to be temporary. It's going to be meaningless because it's our soul that counts. And oh, by the way, you know, one of the things that's really interesting in all this, there is no ethnicity with the soul. Mm-mm. And the other thing that's interesting is that even when we speak of the mortal remnant of Yisrael, Israel and Yehud, which has been corrupted to Jew, is a naming convention. Now, you probably heard me talk about that in some of the shows more recently, but it's not an ethnicity. It is a naming convention. The first to be a Yehud was the son of Leah and Jacob. And Leah and Jacob were both Babylonians.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
There's been a recent genetic report coming out of the earliest graves out of Tehran and surrounding areas, Kermanshah region. Not a whole lot from the south, or a lot from the south, but not a whole lot from the northeast and west. The base haplogroup for the Persian, let's say, modern Persian, is haplogroup J, same as mine.
Yeah. Well,
imagine that.
Of course, because Noach was before Persia. Chinook and Noach and Adam, of course, were before Persia even existed. But by the time you get to Abraham and Sarah, they came out of Ur, of the Chaldeans. That's the area that we would call first Babylon, Sumer, Assyria, and second Babylon. That's the area we now would refer to as Persia. And so by ethnicity, that's where they came from. And the wives of the sons all came from the same area, in fact, from the same family in the same area. And so for them to go from one day to the next of being Persians to being Yehud, It's a naming convention. A naming convention that's very important to God because it has both Yisrael and Yehud have a very important teaching lesson, of course, which is that Yehud means beloved of Yah. And we become beloved of Yah when we become covenant. We are that naming convention, and we become Yisrael, the better part of Yisrael, when we accept the covenant, which means to engage and endure with God. So it is really a marvelous thing, and it has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has all to do with the choices you've made.
Oh, it has everything to do with the response.
Yeah, it's the choices that God gives us information. We have to listen to him, process that information, and respond to it intelligently. All right, so dust. Adam was conceived of dust. Man apart from God is nothing but really dust. We go, dust to dust. And so this speaks of Adam, who became Dode and other lives, of being the dust, and that we all begin this process as really as stardust with a nephesh and a nesama, but we're stardust. And all of us are the same in that regard. Our mineral composition is all the same. Fire is what we're aspiring to. Because when our soul is encapsulated in radiant energy and light, then we become immortal and perfected and empowered. And so the song is one woman's journey from dust to fire. Would that be correct, Leah?
Mm-hmm. It's the path we all take.
Okay, that's the path we all take. And the olive branches here that you began this with are spectacular because, and the way that you've illuminated them here. And that's a theme that you're going to run all the way through this. We're going to go through olive orchards, and we're going to have olive leaves that flutter and the like. The olive is the tree that is most germane to Yisrael. As a matter of fact, we even have the Mount of Olives that is going to be the stadium seating for what happens on Teruah. And the olive tree creates the olive, which when crushed produces the fuel for the menorah. And the menorah is the lamp of the luminaries, and it's the longest lived tree, the most enduring tree, the most deeply rooted tree in the land. So there's lots of symbols associated with the olive, including the fact that olive oil is anointing oil. So you chose olives very early on. You obviously recognize many of those themes because you have her walking through olive groves and the like. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's begin to play some of this. And Leah, you're more than welcome to view this if you want to behind me.
Was dust in the dawn.
Okay. I want to just interrupt, and then I want you to interrupt in themes. What I like is that beginning. First of all, the title here is Dust to Fire, and to show animated graphics as the title is being presented has that title come alive. And so what you're showing there is that the Dust to Fire is not just a woman's journey, but the woman's journey from one to the other. And you're going to be telling her life story as it relates to the Torah story by Dust to Fire.
Yes.
Okay, that's okay. So we're on the same page here. That's how I read that.
Yes.
Now you begin in an interesting spot. This woman, who we now know as Leah, her most famous role is as Ruth, and she is the Amma. She is spoken of vociferously by Dode, who praises her enormously. She is the Amma. She initially was unnamed. When she's first introduced to us as Chanuk's wife, and of course they have Methuselah as their son. She's not named.
It fits my personality. I don't like fame.
Right. So she's first. She's Noach's wife, and then Yahweh takes Noach. Guess who he took along with Noach? Noach's wife. She comes back also unnamed, but essential to the story. Noach is Chinook. And so she comes back as the wife of Noach. Now that's rather important because you know who Noach's and his wife's first son is?
Yeah.
Shem, the name.
Yes.
And you know what God tells us is the name of all names above all names in the 89th Mizmor? Dod. And so she's the mother of Shem, who is Dod. That's Dod's soul. And at a critical time where she and her husband are literally saving Nesama man. You and I don't exist here, pal, if it weren't for what Noach and his wife did, nearly 5,000 years ago. They saved Nesama man. God was ready to give up on the whole experiment. So she's still unknown, unnamed anyway. She's filling the role of wife and mother. Her third life is one that I have done the least work to prove, but she has gone right to it here. She's the wife of, well, she's not the wife of, she is the mother of Moshe. She raised Moshe before turning Moshe over to Pharaoh's daughter. And she is the only name among all of the names that are provided to us among those who were participants in the Exodus and were participants in that time, whose name includes Yahweh's name. Do you know that? I don't even think she knew that. Her name is Yahweh Kabed. Kabed means significant, important. It's one of Dod's favorite words. When Mikel, accuses him of being insignificant,
Dod is Kabed.
he comes back and says, "Well, we'll ask the Amma whether or not she thinks I'm Kabed, significant." God names her Yahweh Kabed. In other words, significant to Yahweh. She was Moshe's mother. And so you begin with her beside the Nile. Now, you may have just gone there because she speaks of the Nile. But that was an exceedingly humble beginning. You've got her dressed in something that a slave would wear. That is not a wedding dress there. At the end, she's only in wedding dresses, and they are gorgeous, and they're white, and they're revealing, and they're festive. And she is a gorgeous bride, but the dress is part of the story all the way through your song. And it starts here and goes to magnificent, and it's very humble here.
Yes.
Now, she is named for the first time, but no one knows what that name means. And she's not named in the story as Moshe's mother. She's unnamed as Moshe's mother. And it's not until many chapters later that there's just a narration on gestation that the name is presented to us, but it's not actually presented at this point. So she's still, I don't have a name. I'm nameless. All I have is my open hands. But you've shown her on the shores of the Nile. That is where her coming out begins. Pretty cool.
How serendipitous.
How serendipitous. So let's play a little bit. Let's play a little bit more.
A hush in the reeds, a sparrow beneath the shadow of the Nile of time that had not yet spoken my name. Then I saw.
You see how perfect? Now, she claims, Deepo, that she doesn't think of these lyrics. They just come to her. And that she just writes them down as these lyrics come to her. I just told you the story behind the story. She didn't even know it.
No.
It's exactly what she wrote, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when I asked you before the show began, how much of, because I wrote a 5-page analysis of what I thought you had done for this song, and the combined between these lyrics that Leah wrote and your graphics that I thought was the most magnificent thing I had ever seen, pursuant to enlightening and empowering the Covenant family and inviting others into this mortal remnant. And I said, things that are really subtle here, like this slave's dress here. It's dusty. It's the kind of thing that a slave in Egypt might wear. And she then goes, and she's very plain, and she then goes to magnificent in this wedding dress. I said, did you think that through? Is that part of your process? Because the dress, in my view, tells the story. And which your comment was, well, not everything. I just kind of wanted to tell the story, and it's just how it worked out. Which would be the same thing as Leah saying, I didn't really think about the lyrics. I just wrote the lyrics as they came to me.
Yeah.
Now, what that tells me is that this idea that Yahweh chose you, Depot, 20 years ago, brought you to this and had what he said about himself resonate with you, because we have a really big job to do. And it needs some talent. God, he is God after all. He deserves the best we have to offer. You guys did that. Now, I just think it's all for that purpose because it's just too inspired. All right, so she said she didn't have a name. She's there in the reads. She didn't have a name, but I sought to Yada Yahweh, which is what you sought. Yada means to know. Yahweh is God's name. She sought to Yada Yahweh. That was her purpose. Matter of fact, it was one of the very first questions she asked is what brought us to us. She said, Yada, I know you exist. Who are you? How do I get to know you? And that's when she told him in a dream, go ask Ruth. Now, he was
Cheeky.
laughing
He's cheeky.
the tush off at the same time, not telling her, oh, by the way, you happen to be Ruth, sweetheart. But you go ask her and you'll figure it out given enough time.
18 years.
And by the way, there are huge undercurrents of Ruth throughout this whole song. Okay, so go ahead, Kevin.
Yada Yahweh, like rain on a buried sea, like fire folded into cedar, like the first silver thread of morning breaking the rim of the dark. I heard your name as in you.
Well, first of all, one of the great lines ever. I heard your name as a ewe hears a whistle in the field. I mean,
That's from Torah.
wow, what a beautiful line. And-
Yahweh whistles for his sheep and they hear his name. That's directly from Torah.
And
I'm
that-
ripping it off. I'm plagiarizing.
Yeah. And then as a mother hears the footsteps of the one who comes home. I mean, wow. I mean, those are really lines. Anyway, you've taken her up a notch from the woman walking in along the Nile, then going through a really dry patch, which would be like them crossing the Sinai en route to Choreb. So she goes through a really dry patch. There's almost no water there. She doesn't yet know who she is. She's asking Yahweh for help in that regard. And then she hears Yahweh's name, and it's like the ewe hears the whistle in the field, like the mother hears the footsteps of a child coming home. And now she's still plain. The dress isn't quite as slavish. She's coming out a little bit. It's a little whiter, not quite as dirty. The dress is telling a story here, as is the expressions on her face. She went from very plain, and she's becoming beautiful. Did you see all of that? Was that by intent?
Well, not everything, now that you mentioning this, I'm actually looking at it, more deeply. But my idea was to portray, because when you listen to the song, some visuals will form in your head, just listening to the song. So
Right.
my idea was to just portray what I could view as a trend of that song, coming from the part where she started as nobody, and then she went through a lot, and then getting to actually materialize. So pretty much that's what I was trying to bring about.
And it's not just she went from being dust to ending up as the woman who dances on the hills and sings beside the sea, with the great bonfire of her people burning beneath her. She went through a lot. What you're also keen to show here is that there was a lot of heartache, a lot of very hard work and big time challenges along the way.
More to come.
Right? So that's what you heard in your head from the lyrics, is that this is not a smooth transition from here to there.
Yes.
There was a lot of challenges to overcome.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's certainly the way it plays. Go ahead, Kevin.
Here's a whistle in the field through wind, wood, and stone. I heard your name as a mother hears the steps of the one who comes home. I am the Amma. I have no palace. I have no crown. Only my.
Okay, so now she is identifying that she recognizes who she is. She is the Amma. And that's a big deal in the Torah and prophets. And the interesting thing about the Amma is that the common understanding of the word is the most humble of humble. It's used to describe women of a lowly class, women who are slaves,
Worse yet,
and concubines.
sexual.
That is the term Amma. Now, in the right mind, it's all of that and a lot more, because Amma is actually based upon M with the Ah ending, and M in Hebrew it's Ah and M actually written both Aleph Lamed, which means it's the Lamed. Excuse me, this was so it's the mem, which is water, plus the either the bull or the ram's head, and with the ah ending, it's got a person standing up. But what we've learned about the ah ending in so many of these titles, so this took mother, and mother is associated here with the bull and the ram and water, with water being the source of life, and it's a mother's water that breaks when she delivers a child. And so that's the visual picture that God is giving her, along with the fact that water is the ultimate solvent, so that she is providing also purification for her descendants. And then with the ah ending, you already have M, mother, is already feminine. If you're giving it the ah ending, what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to add all things pursuant to this. I'm going to take this to the fullest possible extent. So I take it from mother to productive mother. M to Amma, productive mother. But it's a productive mother who has come a rough road. Mm-hmm. She did not start off as a queen. she started off
Hardly.
beside the Nile as a slave. And that wasn't actually her start. She was Chunuk's wife and then Noach's wife. But imagine being Noach's wife and being
stuck on a ship with all those animals and all that
and
garbage and food and feeding.
And building that thing for all those years. I mean,
I do love animals, but oh my God.
Yeah, the only thing that she got as a super benefit of the ark experience is that she's a introvert to the point of she could be a recluse. And Noach was out living in the boonies by himself. So she and Noach were celebrating the lives of being introverts. So it was that part was comfortable.
It was so hard on Noach. The first thing he did was plant a vineyard and get drunk.
That's
Come on.
true. When it's all over, the first thing he does is plant a vineyard, and he
I'm sure she gave him the seeds.
he parties hardy. Okay, so what you have done here, she says, I don't have a crown. She actually becomes the king's mother, but she doesn't have a crown. And what you've shown is that very humble state that she's in, and I'm going to view what is interlocking logs as cedar, and with the fire inside. She has a very humble beginning in terms of her home, but there's a fire that burns inside of it, transformative. And then you show the palace is completely empty, completely dead, and nothing but dust. And so what people crave is the power and the wealth of the castle. You're showing it as dusty and deadly and deserted, but the fire was alive. So I think that is graphically, it tells that part of the story.
And really, I really appreciate the way you, you deeply analyze, the graphics and all that. It's
yes. As creative types, it's hard to talk about your art.
Yeah, but there's no chance you could have created this empty, cold, dead, sterile room with dust rising from the floor and not have thought about what image you were conveying.
Yeah, it's in the lyrics. There is something in the lyrics that says, I don't have a crown, I don't know.
Yes.
So it's
right.
No palace and
Yes. What would you rather have? That beautiful open cedar home with the fire blazing inside of it and the beautiful woman standing outside of it celebrating Yahweh's name, or live in this dusty, deadly, dark, dank place?
Of course, it will be the beautiful one. But this is like the progression is like you're moving from that unknown and then till you get to the known. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, Kevin.
My open palms, I have no song of my own except the one you placed in my breath. Yahweh, you are the well. Hidden in a wilderness, the lantern in the hollow of the darkest night, the path of dawn laid across
the... Stop right there, just one moment. Okay. So I have no song of my own except the one that you have laid in my heart. And you have a woman here that says, I'm not writing these lyrics as I am trying to tell a story. I'm writing the lyrics as they come to me. Pretty much expresses that concept, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think you did a really nice job of showing I'm holding up the light that inspires me, and outside is nothing but storms and darkness in that cave. That was pretty interesting graphic in terms of the contrast. And then you did something that I thought was pretty magnificent. You went immediately to a sea. Now, she doesn't mention, maybe she does mention the sea, but you talk about the dawn, and maybe it is, and I can't read the lyric because your image is covering it, but
the part of the dawn laid across.
Okay. The face of the dawn as opposed to the. Okay. So you've got the dawn, but you've chosen not only to show it across the sea, but you're racing towards the dawn. There is movement now, one of the things that's really interesting, there's nothing static in your production. It's all moving. And it's always moving in a way that draws you into her world. And here you're being drawn to the dawn, to that rising sun, because she's going to give birth to the sun. And the sun is going to rise because of the great motherly support she provides to her son, who is the Gadol Mayor, the greater luminary. So I think this was just a beautiful transition, both in the song and the way that you elevate it by showing it as we're moving to the dawn of the sun across the sea. And the sea here, I don't know how much you thought about this, but Leia certainly would resonate with her. Dode is the sun, but we actually get to him through the sea. He's unknown. His role as the savior, as the returning king, as the chosen one of God, as the one who fills Pesach, Matzah, and Bakurim, it is unknown if it wasn't for the man from the sea.
The sea also reflects the sun just as the moon does.
Yeah. So it is, your visual is racing towards the sun who is rising, but it's doing that by chasing after the sun across the sea. And that is, again, a very intellectual presentation of precisely this path that she and we are all taking to the recognition that this story is all about God's firstborn. He wanted a son. He just wanted a son. And we're all in this play to support God's desire to have a son, and such that he's now going to have an entire family. And we're all that family. All right, Kevin.
Face of the sea, you are the wild wind that wakes the olive tree, the pulse beneath the vineyard soil, the compassion that bends
Okay,
low
we'll
to
stop here again, my friend. Wow. All right, so you then have her now. She's gone from moving slowly, and she's dressed in a dirty beige, to now she's moving fast. She's going places. And she emerges right along the edge of the sea, because the guy that she's tethered to, that she's constantly married to, happens to represent the sea, and how that transforms the shore that is the land. And then you marry that with the fact that the story is about the olives, because not only the olives are her descendants, but the two olive trees that are shown beside the menorah and Zechariah. I had always thought that was the two witnesses. It's not. It's Dode and Yada. We're the two olive trees. We're the tree of knowledge and the tree of lives. And you have her walking between those trees because that's her life. That's her husband. That's her son. And in that role, it's as much about her as it is about us. It's about all of us. So the blowing olive leaves that in the wind there, and this beautiful olive tree on one side, and her rescuing her son who has harmed himself tremendously. He's, in fact, what you've got here is a bandage around the wrist. Dode damn near committed suicide. In terms of his rebellion against God, he darn near committed suicide. And it's the mother that embraced him in the last word picture, the 31st. And she is the one that goes to him first and says, son, you need to know who you are. And I'm going to rescue you from yourself. You're killing yourself. And you have more responsibility than you can possibly know. But she's not doing it alone. She's backed by that olive. The one on the behind her there, that's her Baal, her husband. That's the other tree. So you've got both trees here. And then you have the orchard, because when those two trees get together and they have this productive woman in between, the productive mother, then we have a covenant family. We give God what he wants. This is the metaphor that God's trying to communicate to you. Between her lyrics and your images, you captured it. Compassion that bends low. That is a mother's love. Her son was in deep trouble. And this is compassion that bends low. She was there to lift him up. He was really in a rough go. That was a tough job. And she had to come in as the loving mother to lift her son up. My job was much easier. I come in as the hammer. You're wrong. Get your act together. This is who you are. This is who I am. This is what we do. This is who Yahweh is. You got to get it together now. And, so I come in as the hammer. I mean, I'm okay with that. Her role was much more difficult. That's why the 31st Mashal, that word picture, was transformational for all of us. It recalibrates everything. But you have it beautifully pictured here, Deepo.
That's great.
Miss Leah, do you see all of those things in this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The Deepo is very good at executing. When he asked me, first of all, I gave the song to him because I trusted him.
Mm-hmm. As you should.
He does.
I do too.
Just tell the story through the lyrics, and you'll be fine. I'll give him one or two instructions on, I think this would be great as this vibe, and maybe you could put a little something here. After that, I don't talk to him for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he comes back with a link, and I'm like, wow, that's gorgeous.
Yeah,
well done.
Yeah, it's not just that the Amma here trusts you.
Yeah.
Deepo. It's not just that I trust you, Deepo. It's that Yahweh trusts you. And for damn good reason. You're really special. This is, and there are times too where I feel almost an out of body experience where you're writing and you're learning, you're seeing things for the first time that anyone's ever seen them and portraying them, and it's almost like, okay, well, I'm being used here, but that's cool. That's what we're here for. You were used, pal.
I think the Ruach will work with those who are open to such work.
Yeah, but you got to be more than open. A lot of people are open. It takes a lot of learning and thinking and resolve to get to the point where you're usable. And being usable at that point is kind of the ultimate with Yahweh. It doesn't get any better than earning the place of respect with Yahweh, that you're usable in this kind of a profound way. That's why, as I said, it was such an honor to meet you, because occasionally I get to run into people who are deployed at the level you're being deployed, and you are. Yeah, and I hope you don't mind me saying I think you're being used, but I think you are.
Well, Yahweh calls us co-workers.
Yeah, considering who's using you, it's a pretty good thing, man.
Feels good.
Yeah.
If Yahweh calls us co-workers, then who is the co?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we are his co-workers. All right, so compassion that bends low. It's a great line and a great visual in this particular scene.
The ones the world has broken, I turned from the noise of men, from altars of ash and echoes of hay.
Oh my. Every aspect of that is just inspiring, uplifting, magnificent. The noise of the world. Those are, you have depicted the political and the religious today that I think are very effeminate men. And the men that you had that were railing against her, that she's walking away from, that she has put her back to, they look like religious and political. They got nothing but and they're very effeminate, weak men. They're just this voice that just needs to go away, and she is repulsed by them. And then you see her with this glow of the sun, as if she is now fire. She is now on fire. And you show that behind her. And then she goes into, and when we're brought right back into, she was inspired not for her, but to salvage her people. And you show that ruinous condition of not only her son, Dode, but of Yisrael, because there really is no difference, Deepo, between Dode and Israel. Other than Dode gets it at the end. But Dode fails in every way that Israel fails. He is the living embodiment of Israel. And so when you show that broken scene of ruins in the middle of the promised land, that is Dode, the way she found him. And that is Israel. the way they are. And that Dode is proof that Israel can be magnificent because of what she contributed. Dode got his act back together. And then you have her in this, what is, I just think, one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen. I mean, if you were producing a major theatrical motion picture, you aren't going to get better than what you have here. The olives, the leaves blowing, the hair, the light behind the hair, the beautiful gown now, the hands with the water dripping off. It's just like she's beside the Jordan River. And she's found her strength. She's found her purpose in life. She knows now who she is and what she's doing to bring life to Dode and to all of us. Is that how you were telling the story? Am I conveying what you were thinking?
Well, it's kind of because I was, like I said, following the progression of the lyrics, so I could. I was moving with the environment, you know, as she's transitioning from one section of the lyrics to another. So that's what I was, and then I was listening for, you know, the key objects in the song. So I tried to, you know, use them to tell the story. But the way you are analyzing, it's you know, that's why at times I just sit back and you know, I was just listening because you were really going deep into it, and there are some things that I'm just saying for the first time when you say it. So I guess it wasn't really the intention, but you know, when you bring it up, I say yeah. Yeah,
it's what happens. And one of the things here that is that the Amma knows, she doesn't much like to talk about, but she knows, and you celebrated it here, is that she wants to be known for the brilliance of her mind, which is hard to portray, the fullness of her character, which you can and did portray, the building of her character from where she was to where she is here, which you portrayed brilliantly. But the Amma, from God's point of view, is also gorgeous. She's beautiful. And you've taken an average woman, and now you portray her beautifully. Her crown is her hair highlighted by the sun. You can see through the gown, and you can recognize that there are curves there that are pure woman. The dress is now low cut. It's she is comfortable now, recognizing that she is a beautiful woman. And that's a marvelous transition. And the interesting thing too is that face is really recognizable to me. That's young Leah's face. That isn't just any old face. You actually captured Leah's face, and you captured her physique. Well, I started from. She actually had in the song. She had a clip of you know, this face here. So that's what I used. Yeah. Yeah. So she sent you. She's created many avatars of herself and of me and our lives together. And so she sent you a clip that had an avatar of her, and you developed it from that. Yes. Okay, that makes beautiful sense. Okay.
I believe Maddie helped with that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is just a beautiful. This is a beautiful moment, right here in the story that I was telling, and telling through her life. Okay, Kevin. Okay, so you began with the birds. You know, first it was olive leaves, and now it's birds. And those birds, they make their way through all of the rest of the story. And they're actually very symbolic. we're going to fly. We're going to be in the heavens, and it is a bird that Yahweh views a woman as a beautiful bird, even sometimes even portrays himself as a bird. But now that is not a simple dress anymore, is it, my friend? That is clearly a wedding dress, isn't it? Yeah, it's lacy wedding dress. And she is no longer shy or bashful or slow or demure. She is running between the olive trees, and she is running to the sea. So here there are no lyrics. There is just an instrumental part. And the dust that she kicks up from under her feet as she takes this journey, and the way that you elevate the scene, your perspective of it, and the highlights of the light on the olive trees and running towards them with the birds that are flying, and that vantage of the sea. Production values here, my friend, are not only spectacular, but the story in the wedding dress, she has always pictured herself as the one-away bride. You probably know that because she wrote a song called the Runaway Bride.
Picture, it's just
The
a
Runaway
reality.
Woman. And she has left, I think 6 men beside the altar. This time she's that's not what's happening. She's running to her wedding. And I don't know if you know the story. We're going to talk about it a lot here in the future, but the story of Ruth and Boaz. Leah is very keen on pointing out that, you didn't find me, I found you. And when you read the story of Boaz, that's exactly what happens. She learns who he is, and she goes after him. And he is instantly smitten.
Twice over.
Yes. So that is her story, and she is running to her wedding now. And by the way, her husband to be, he is the sea. She is running to her wedding in her wedding dress through the olive trees. That's her story. I mean, I think that when we're going to find more and more on this as we develop it further, but if we were to have a central story that is the most telling story in the entirety of the Torah, prophets, and Psalms, it's Ruth's story as she reaches out to Boaz, and that collectively she is the Amma that delivers the kinsman redeemer, and that love story is the covenant. That is our story, and you're beginning to show that story here. I don't think there's any scene that I've ever watched. And by the way, now wedding was interrupted. There's a lot that goes on still. There's a lot that she still needs to work through. And so she's running towards her wedding, but it's God's story is not girl and boy grow up, girl and boy fall in love, girl and boy have family, and happily ever after.
Hardly.
That's not his story.
No. Life is messy.
Life is messy, and his story is fractured family. And so you're telling the story of that. A lot of water has gone under that bridge, I'll tell you, and it all rolls downhill. And it is a story that has huge heartache in the middle of it. And here she has that beautiful fire in her home. It's beside this lovely, life-giving river. And now she is running. And she's no longer in that wedding dress. There's business that she still needs to take care of before that wedding is going to occur. And it's that daggone leaf. Oh my God, that leaf that's fluttering in the sunlight over that river following her, which is an anticipation of a lyric yet unsung. But seeing...
No, it's a continuation of a lyric already sung. like fire to cedar. Who's the cedar? It's you.
Yeah, but
It's the foreshadow of
Okay.
Tarua.
well, you foreshadowed the story of the leaf and the wind, knowing where it's going.
Yeah.
She knows where she's going. It's just that it's a rough go. Being in the role of Amma, you are going to feel every bit of the heartache that God has felt with his fractured family. And so it's a really tough go. And so she's like that leaf in the wind that has a place to go. But I just want to tell you that I thought that the graphic that you presented, actually in advance of her talking about the leaf in the wind, was among the most beautiful things I've seen portrayed visually. Every time I see it, I get emotional. So it really struck me. Thank you for what I think is just really brilliant work.
Thank you.
Do you see it the same way?
I love Deepo's visualization of my lyrics. Yeah, I trust him completely.
Yeah. Okay, let's.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts there? Did you, when you did that, did you bring a smile inside of you? Was there something that just resonated in you and said, "I really captured something special here"?
Yes. You know, when I want to make these videos, I listen to the songs, and just listening to the songs, I could, you know, already have, you know, scenes building in my head. So as I go through the song, I'm already thinking, okay, this will fit in here, this will fit in here, and that's how I do it. But most of the scenes that I portray is actually coming from the song, because when I listen to the song, I could read, you know, meanings into it and say, okay, yes, this is what this part is talking about, and you know. So.
I hope I'm not offending you when I say that I think you and I are a lot alike, and that I'm a highly visual guy. I read the words of Yahweh, and I see them in my mind's eye. I visualize them. They are patterns to me, and they're patterns that are part of a portrait of colors and hues, and it's all part of a portrait. And so I visualize everything. The words become patterns in my mind. And I see you doing the same thing.
Yeah, but it's really clear the way you analyze this, because if I was going to write a review of this song, I'll probably have like maybe like a page max.
Yeah.
That's why there's one choder, one talking stick.
Yeah, talkative stick. But see, part of it is that by being a tool and Yahweh's use of somebody who's taken the time to read and to learn and to think and to grow, you're able to express things that you may not even know what the fullness of why that works. And yet it does, because you've taken and she doesn't even know the fullness of the lyrics that she wrote. And yet they work, because this is how Yahweh uses those of us who are prepared and willing to be used. You did something magnificent here, and it needs to be, I want everyone in the covenant family to have the ability to appreciate it for what this collaboration resulted in. And when you follow that and you see that leaf and you're wondering, why am I watching this beautiful leaf flutter in the wind, following her, racing to a place, and then it transitions to a boy in a home with, again, that olive is the husband, with the olive there, and the hearth that is making the bread that is symbolic of the covenant family. And then it is the boy that is following that smell of the bread from the hearth. It's the story of what God's trying to tell his people. And it's presented in first in visual and then in lyrics. And sometimes I think when you anticipate the lyrics and you've already shaped the person's appreciation of what's to come, it's far more inspiring than the other way around. You didn't follow the lyrics, you preceded them.
Mm-hmm.
When I was writing the Yada Yawa series, I was constantly debating, and this is a conversation I had a lot with our friend Joe, who's the designer of our website and my good friend for 30 plus years, is that he said, you have this tendency to explain what we have read at the end after having read it, and you will explain each of the words and how they draw us into this picture that God is painting. But he said, I don't think you realize that if you don't introduce it and tell people what they're going to see and why this is being presented as this, you're making it far too difficult for most of us to follow. In other words, we're reading something we don't understand, and then at the end of it, you're explaining it. Why don't you introduce it? Explain to us what we're going to see. Then tell us what we're seeing. And then tell us what we saw. And you're going to be a much more effective communicator to the vast majority of us if you'll do it that way. And so it's more challenging because I have to do the translations first and then go back and introduce them and then explain them at the end. That is what you have done here, but visually. So I think it just happens to be the most powerful way to communicate. And it is the way that Yahweh does throughout his Torah, which is he tells us what he's going to tell us, he tells us, and then he tells us what he told us.
Yeah.
Very effective storytelling. All right, let's continue, Kevin.
I came like rain, seeking the river like a child, following the scent of bread like a leaf.
The rain seeking the river. The rain just comes down, doesn't it? The river takes it someplace, doesn't it? Where does the river take the rain?
To the sea.
To the sea. The sea is her husband. The sea is the father of this boy. The sea is that tree right there. And so she knew exactly what she was writing there. Even if she didn't, that's what she's writing.
No, that's what
The rain, and the Nyama uses the metaphor amore a lot, which is the Torah teaching coming to us as an autumn rain.
Yes.
And that rain is taken to the sea as through that river. And then you have this boy who is the young Dode, her son, her father being the tree of knowledge that stands outside of that home. But by the way, wooden door like the home that Yahweh designs. And he's walking by the hearth, that transformative place where not only the bread is turned into bread, but also we're transformed into light and energy. And then the payoff line for the visual that you so brilliantly presented, like the leaf trusting the wind. It may be one of the most beautiful lines I have read, heard, sung, but what makes it so profound is the way that you foretold what we were going to see. So it's just my view that that combination of your visual of her running in the stream, which is the rain flowing to the sea, and that leaf trusting the wind as she is trusting this path that she is on. And then you read the lyrics of it. It makes this the most powerful presentation of God's story that I have ever witnessed. That quieted the crowd there for sure. I'm didn't mean to overpower anybody with that, but that's my view of the whole thing, and this is the heart of it from my perspective. It's the river flowing to the sea, the boy with the smell of the bread, and the leaf trusting the wind, with the visuals you've presented to us that reinforce the whole story. This is who we are. It's what we're doing. It's what we've put ourselves in a position to be that leaf trusting the wind, to be that rain going to the sea. to being that bread and that hearth, to supporting that boy right there. Okay, Kevin.
Trusting the wind to bring it where it belongs, and there in the quiet your name was a thunderclap alone. It was also the shelter after the storm. Yahweh, Yahweh.
Okay. God's name was the thunderclap. It was for you too, wasn't it, Depot? That's what brought you to the covenant. It's what brought you to Yahweh. His name. That was the thunderclap for you.
It is.
That was one of the very first things that I developed. It was for me. It was for Leah. Yahweh, Yahweh. There's something you did here that my guess is that everybody, but maybe somebody that is just really into the details, would not have noticed. The tears, after coming from her eyes, retreat. You reversed the tears. Was that intentional?
Not really. It's the tears for me was just to portray, how happy she was to know Yahweh. So
yes,
they're like happy tears. So
yes, they are.
Yeah. So.
And God tells us that when He returns with Dode, we're all going to be crying, tears of joy, but also tears of sorrow of what we have done over the years. But you reversed the tears at the end of that segment. The tears are no longer going down her cheeks; they're retreating back up. Never seen that effect, and I think it's powerful. So it's they're tears of joy, but then they retreat up her cheeks.
Yahweh, Yahweh. I am yours to remember. Write your name upon my...
She's in the rain. The flowers are everywhere. Why? Because Moreh is what God has promised. This is the autumn of our existence. He promised that there would be the Torah teacher to bring us the autumn rain, and it brings those glorious flowers, and she's out celebrating in the olive tree with those beautiful blue flowers, God's color. She's celebrating the rain. She is literally dancing in the rain, and write your name on my brow. I'm yours.
Oh no, she's even more bolder than that.
Yes.
I am yours to remember.
Yeah. It's just like I say, I'm yours to use. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this so long, it's just okay. We're in lockstep. I'm yours to use. Whatever you want, we're gonna. That's where we're going. Write your name on my brow. I'm yours to remember. Yeah, it's a really a beautiful, and you've got the olive leaves with the drops of water on them here. It's a beautiful visual that you've portrayed to make the words so visually impactful, so memorable.
Brow on the inside of my waiting heart, like a blue flower in the spring. Let me be the small song that rises from the clay. When your breath...
In the end, that's where we end up. This great bonfire. It's going to be in the eternal flame. It's underneath or above her husband, who is sacrificed. He is the sea. So you see the sun shining down on this. That's her son Dode, and the sea is her husband, and it all comes together in this eternal flame. And you can see the torches of Yisrael finally coming back home to the sea, and it's Yah's breath that is bringing us here. And she is in a wedding gown now, for sure, isn't she, Tipo? She's going to her wedding. Yeah. And what I think she's actually saying here too is that when Dode returns, while she is responsible for cultivating and curating Dode's bride from the remnant of Yisrael, and it's going to be this glorious wedding on Kippurim. I think she's visualizing that this is a dual wedding.
No, mother of the bride.
Yeah, the mother of the.
No one is happier than the mother of the bride.
Yeah, but you're also the mother of the groom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, playing
both.
both. You have cultivated the bride. You are the mother of the groom, and
I'm also the daughter
and so
of the groom.
I think there's going to be a dual
The
wedding
daughter of
that day. I think God's going to say the two luminaries. This is their day, and God's going to be actually take a step back. You know, the day that He returns is not the glorious day of Yahweh. It's Teruah is the great day of Yahweh.
Yes.
And so I think when Dode returns, and we'll be beside him as he returns, I think Yahweh is actually taking a step back. That's why he says that his son is going to be as brilliant as the sun on that day, because I think he's going to be enjoying the moment of his son finding the bride that is right for him, and this wedding, and his mother and father that have nurtured him through this past 6,000 years and supported him, also celebrating the wedding by renewing their vows at the same time. I think it's, how I think you've probably heard me say that the thing I wanted most, Depot, was to be in the room when Yahweh first gets to give you a hug. And it first says, Depot, welcome, my friend, my son. It's so good to have you here. And, we have worked so magnificently together. It's great and I just wanted to be in the back of the room to get to witness that. That's not Yahweh's style. He won't do it that way. What I want is irrelevant in this case. What Yahweh is saying is, you went through a lot. We did a lot together. I'm going to now set you up, and I'm going to be in the back of the room. And I'm going to watch this magnificent moment because this is what we worked for. So I think it's just Yahweh saying, it's like when Dode says, I want to build you a house of cedar, and Yahweh says, hey, come on, kid. You're not building me a house of cedar. I've never asked you to build me a house. And it's like me saying, I want to be in the back of the room while this happening. He said, come on, kid. No, that's not the way this is going to work. The way this is going to work is you all are going to be featured. I'm going to be sitting behind just watching it. I get to be the one in the back of the room. Proud of what's happened. Delighted with what's happened. So that's how I see this particular moment. That makes sense?
Yeah, it is.
Consistent with what you'd expect of God?
Yeah.
Entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really interesting. He happens to be God, which means it's impossible for him to be egotistical. And he created the universe, conceived life, all of this, infinitely enabled. And yet his whole deal is he wants to share credit. He wants to celebrate what we achieved together. And that makes us very comfortable being part of the plan, being coworkers. So that's what I see.
It's one of the things that caught me, when that resonated with me when I was reading and listening to you. You talk about God doesn't want us to worship Him because He wants to lift us up. But
Yes.
if you look at the religions like Christianity, and
Yeah.
that's what they always say they are doing. They are lifting God up.
Right.
But why would God create, people that are lesser than Him, and then He will want them to, that argument was, what you mentioned, and I said, yeah, definitely, it's something is wrong with what these guys are saying. You're lifting God up. How?
How? And so we humans have to be exceedingly egotistical to think that we're lifting God up. And we've inverted the entire purpose. The entire purpose of the covenant is for God to raise us, to lift us up. And if you're inverting what God's purpose is, and you're pretending that you can lift up God, or that He wants you to praise Him, that He created a creature to worship Him, is the most demeaning thing you could possibly ever say of God.
And you're an insufferable fool.
And you're an insufferable fool for demeaning Him to the point that He would create a being who is lesser being to worship Him. It's so demeaning and derogatory. and you've completely corrupted the prime objective is for God to lift us up, to empower us. He can do that. He's our Father. He can do that for us. We can't do that for him, but we can give him enormous joy by allowing him to do what he wants and for us to be part of that process. So, I think this is as important as anything you could possibly convey, Deepo. So, that's powerful. And I'm going to go right back to the same thing. You are able to be used because you get it, because you've spent the time to understand. It resonated within you. It means something to you. It's just right within you. You know it's right. And because you've come to know what's right, you can interpret his communication to us as it is channeled through Leah in ways that speak in many levels. Powerful.
Moves through it and gives it life. Yahweh, Yahweh, you are the morning in the throat of the dark. You are the fire beyond the veil of the hills. You are the lamp at the feet of those who are beloved. I respond with open hands. Here I am, and here is my song.
Coppola and Tarantino have nothing over you, pal. I mean, that's just magnificent. It is, I don't have words to properly credit it. It's just absolutely magnificent. And it's not just elegant and beautiful and rich and beautifully produced. Every image that was part of that conveys a story, conveys the same story, reinforces the same story. What you did there is just amazing, beautiful, consistent with who God is and the story that he's telling in all of our lives, in your life. So, man, it's a really honor to be able to enjoy a collaboration of that magnificence and that importance. I view what you did there as being one of two productions that is central to who we are and where we are. The only other one that I would put in league with that is the song of Ruth and Boaz. And the visuals on that song and the lyrics of that song, I would say, is close to as powerful as this one.
I'm working on a blue song right now.
Okay, another one like this. So, man, it is really an honor. I am so glad that you found Yahweh, that Yahweh found you, and that you are our brother and covenant member, and that we're going to be able to collaborate for the next 1,000 years and then beyond. I credit God for finding a great soul.
Yeah, so could I just add something here?
Sure.
Deepo has 2 boys, very beautiful children. And I asked him, do your kids know that you're cool? And he's like, definitely not. And I said, I will make sure in the future that they do.
Okay. You have a daughter too, or just 2 sons? You have the 2 sons?
Just 2 sons, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have 2 sons as well. How old are they?
This year, 10 and 8.
Okay. Wonderful age. Wow. And married. Does your wife know Yahweh?
No.
Okay. Hopefully that will change, and hopefully your sons will grow up to know him as well. You're certainly doing your part to make that real. What other songs have you been a part of in terms of the graphic production?
The one we do on Shabbat.
Oh, the Shabbat song. Okay, the happy
one we do on
Shabbat song.
That one's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, you did that one. Okay, that's really happy.
I
think
am
that one's
Yahweh
brilliant.
too.
The one. Oh, that's so spectacular. The one with the where Leah's walking with the lamb and beside the ocean, and there's the moon and the sun and all of those visuals. She begins with the trumpet at the beginning of the song. Do you have that one, by the way, that you can just key up and we can play from beginning to end because you did that? I just think the visuals of that are as beautiful as the lyrics in the song itself. So you did that.
Yes.
Well, nicely done.
Though I noticed there was a part of that song that you didn't quite like. You mentioned that there was a dome. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That
Yeah.
was true. That when because and I understand that sometimes you're working with AI and it's only certain amounts you can do, but there was the temple was shown several times and it had a dome on top, and the temple doesn't have a dome on top, and so I said, boy, is there any way that we can 86 the dome so that the song plays more authentically?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I was trying to showcase Israel,
Right.
what they are into and all that. So yeah.
Yes, and let's play it, Kevin.
I don't think this one. No, it's not this one.
Here we go now. La 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 la. Here go now. La 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 la. Here we go now. I love you. My heart and fire belongs to Yahweh. La 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 la.
This is beautiful, but this is not mine actually.
Oh, that one was not yours? Oh, okay. So it's a different Yahweh song.
Yeah.
Which the one that that I did the lyrics for?
Yes, the one you did.
Oh, okay. Kevin, that's the one that I wrote the lyrics. You erased my name to Israel. I think it's called To Israel I Came.
Israel, yes. It's to
Yes.
Israel.
Can you cue that one up, Kevin? It's the one that's To Israel I Came, I think is the official title of it. That one really is beautiful. It looks a lot like the things that you would do. So that may have been Matt with Cats and Mariah, but maybe Matt with Cats did some of that, or John Voight could have been the source behind that. Leah has left the room, so I don't know which one.
I have To Yisrael. Yeah, I have To Yisrael ready to go. You ready?
Okay, let's go.
Yehovah is my name. To Israel I came. You denied my acclaim. You fled my flame. You erased my name. was your God and Daud your king. There was a different song to sing. To the Goyim you did not cling. You were shielded from their sting. Isolated and hated, you are battered. Your dreams are shattered, the nation is tattered. My words have not mattered. It is all there in the Mikre. There is no reason to have gone astray. They are the way. Join me on Shabua, I say. I have openly conveyed the signs of the Modim, from whose brilliance you should beam, and yet all agleam with your own scheme. You have chosen a wholly different team. Yehovah is my name. To Israel I came. You denied my acclaim. You fled my flame. You erased my name. With Daud as your Messiah, as foretold in Isaiah, you are not a pariah. Have you read Jeremiah? Daud is his name. To Israel he came. You denied his acclaim. You robbed him of his fame. What a shame. Who served as the lamb, whose blood is on the door jamb? Do you need a diagram? Do you even give a damn? Do you know the son who was given? For what has he striven? How are you to be forgiven? What is your decision? Daud is his name. To Israel he came. You denied his acclaim. You robbed him of his fame. Have you no shame? This need not be the end of the story. You have been called to glory. To my covenant be a signatory. Respond to this allegory. If you wish to be replevin, let's remove your leaven. It's on the basis of 7 that I can bring you to heaven. So this is the story of my luminaries, even as they have become your adversaries, when they serve as my great emissaries, and with whom I've compiled esteemed libraries. Yahweh is my name. To Israel I came. Accept my acclaim, embrace my flame, reinstate my name.
Okay, that may be better. In terms of just power, in terms of the message, well, I may have come across as a jerk saying that 3-time repeated scene of the temple with a dome on top. It bothered me. I can tell you that the scenes you replaced it with, which shows a real Jerusalem and God in the midst of his people, is vastly better. So it created a better result. I'm sorry to put you through the extra work, but it did create a much better result. For those that don't know, I did write the lyrics to that song. They are actually in the, I think it's in the Luminaries volume, but one of the most recent 3 Coming Home series that are soon to be published. And we've gone through 3 attempts to turn those lyrics into a song. And the first, I just walked out of the room and said, no, it won't work. And this one, which was from the final lyrics, works with your visuals. And it worked powerfully. That is the message that most needs to resonate with Israel. that may be our theme song, and then have the other one play after it. That's really a gift to God's people, to Yahweh, to the covenant family. That's extraordinary. What do you think, Kevin, when you see something like that?
I love the videos. I love working on them, doing the little bit that I do with them and everything. Depot does absolutely spectacular work. There is one video that is spectacular that I'm not even sure that you've even seen, because we had an issue with what lyrics of the poem that we're using, because there were so many different places that it was posted, and so an entire song was written with lyrics that weren't the newest version. He did an entire video that is spectacular. It's a very how to explain it, musical kind of vibe to it, with people dancing in the streets and everything. I mean, it was a spectacular, and we just scrapped the whole thing because it wasn't the right lyrics, and he went back to the drawing board and did this one, so it was absolutely wonderful, the work he's been able to do to just the manipulation of the AI, getting real and getting effective images, and not just images, but motion images with them. He does a great job.
Depot, what I hope that you're getting across here is you are appreciated, you're loved, you're respected, you're valued. We care deeply about you, and we, from Yahweh himself, I'll tell you, you're a tremendous gift. What a treasure. We are all better to have you in our company.
I'm happy to be here.
Do you have any of that song, Kevin, that you're talking about now? Leah just walked in. Do you have any of it that you can show us?
I think I may. Let me. It's 5:28. I'm gonna run it for like 30 seconds to make sure it's the right one, and stop it, and then we'll come back to it. Okay.
Okay, that's all.
That's the one, and the imagery on this is gorgeous. I mean, so yeah, you ready to watch this?
I am. When you see this kind of thing now, and you're being able to see it, I'm going to stop and try to frame this correctly. When I write insights in Yada Yahweh, and I know that I'm the first to see them, and I know they're profound, and I know they're important, and they're transformational in people's lives, I enjoy writing them and presenting them. But it's when I see them in somebody else's eyes, when I see them resonating in another soul, is when you sit back and it's like watching the wedding of his sons and his daughters, and he's sitting in the back of the room because this is what he has wanted. I feel like that's what I'm watching in you. I see you as the seed that took root and has become productive. It is the very thing that Yeshaya speaks so passionate about in terms of the work of the role of Choder, is planting seeds like you and then cultivating them and watching them grow into something that is gorgeous and fruitful and beautiful and productive. So that's what I see. And when I see these kind of things that you're creating, and I've been wiping tears from my eyes from the whole time. I'm a pretty rational guy that doesn't get very emotional, but man, I'm just so in love with what you're able to create. And I know, just like turning these lyrics into a song and then creating these visuals, I know that I'm in a unique position to appreciate them, but I can't create them. You're doing things I cannot do. And yet I know they need to be done, and they're so magnificent when they're done well. So this is a real, this is a gift, and it's a gift to God. Let's play it if we can then, Kevin.
and I am God, so why is my name outlawed? Hashem is an ugly facade, why remain so flawed with this nasty fraud? I offered you kinship, a loving relationship, a partnership, a special fellowship, and your retort was a religious lip. My stories of grain, olives and wine, why do you decline? Worse wine, you could be mine before the deadline. Read the sign, be fine and by design. Yahweh is my name, to Israel I came. You denied my acclaim, you fled my flame, you erased my name. I told you everything you needed to glow, revelations to help you grow. My son sowed the seeds, don't you know, and yet you denied him with a crushing blow. Your Messiah returns, he's been here before, your guilty bore. He opened the door of this and more, I swore. It's foretold in his Mizmor. Daud is my son, my chosen one, your salvation he won, it's already done. The Savior as bright as the sun, from my anointed do not run. He served as the Passover lamb, yet you don't give a damn. He fulfilled the promise made to Abraham. He opened the door jam. Yahweh is my name, to Israel I came. You denied my acclaim, you fled my flame, you erased my name. I have always loved you. I wish you knew. You haven't a clue, such nonsense you spew. So the final harvest will be few. The truth was not hidden, it's religion that's forbidden. And now that you are war-ridden, please look at what was written. Yahweh is my name, to Israel I came. You denied my acclaim, you fled my flame, you erased my name. When I was your God and Daud your king, there was a different song to sing. To the Goim you did not cling, you were shielded from their sting. Isolated and hated, you are battered, your dreams are shattered, the nation is tattered. My words have not mattered, it is all there in the Mikra. There is no reason to have gone astray. They are the way. Join me on Shabuah, I say. Yahweh is my name, to Israel I came. You denied my acclaim, you fled my flame, you erased my name. Without as your Messiah, as foretold in Isaiah, you were not a pariah. Have you read Jeremiah? Doubt is his name. To Israel he came. You denied his acclaim. You robbed him of his fame. What a shame. Who served as the lamb, whose blood is on the door jam. Do you need a diagram? Do you even give a damn? Do you know the Son who was given? For what has he striven? How are you to be forgiven? What is your decision? Down is his name. To Israel he came. You denied his acclaim. You robbed him of his fame. Have you no shame? This need not be the end of the story. You have been called to glory. To my covenant be a signatory of my Torah. Do query. It's time what is mine is replevin. Let me remove your leaven. All on the basis of 7. Then I can bring you to heaven. Yahweh is my name, to Israel I came. Accept my acclaim, embrace my flame, reinstate my name.
I love that one, man. That it is cinematography. The motions in it. I just love the way that one come together. That is really, really good stuff.
Yeah, it's. I feel like I need to call you son. That's the way that I would look at you. That was a collaborative effort. You probably know that some of the lyrics of that were also in the other song so it's two songs on that share many lyrics. But what she did, it was a very long poem that I wrote, and she took aspects of one and you made one song, and the aspects of another, and you made the other song. To see the combination of lyrics that were inspired from God's testimony, I wrote them just as I was translating, and then to see her beautiful score of them, and then your visual presentation of that story. Back to back, it is a exceedingly moving moment. It is what we have striven 25 years to accomplish. It is the crowning achievement of lives well lived. Congratulations, my son. That was.
Thank you.
I mean that just in the most endearing way. I don't know how else to refer to you under basis of what you've contributed and who you are. That is magnificent. It's a true gift. Well, I don't have anything I can add to that other than I'm honored, privileged, grateful, and tremendously benefited to know you, Deepo. I wish we had made contact and we had spoken earlier, but boy, you came onto this stage with with all the power of the sun.
Thank you.
You're a very special man. We are all grateful to know you, and it's fun to see too my wife's trust in you, and then to see Kevin's enjoyment in working with you, and knowing that collaboration brought such a marvelous result. And quite humbly, I have to admit that after doing this for 25 years, it's these songs presented this way that carry the message. I wanted the homepage redone so that we lead with these songs. They do what God wants of us better than anything I have ever done. So you're really the culmination of a life's work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Normally, Deepo, we would turn to the news. I can't do it after this. It just wouldn't be fair. We will do the news. Maybe we'll do another program later today. I'm going to invite you to be part of that. I would invite you to be part of anything you want to be part of, and I'll be inviting you to be part of that, or part of as we do a luminary series as well. I think the more we are all exposed to you, the better we all are. You contribute a great deal, and I want everyone's awareness of who you are to be beyond the songs that you have contributed to. So I definitely want to do a vlog on the vlog where we cover news and related items with you to get that side of you. And then would love to have you be there as we do an advancement in the story of the luminaries. I think we're about ready to start the story of Noach in that series. So I'd like people to see more of you if you're willing to do that.
Yeah, I am. It's just like I discussed with Kevin, my My wife is in Covenant, so I'm not actually available all through when she's around because she's not going to understand what I'm doing. So,
Yes. We appreciate what you're
but when
doing.
I
We
am,
understand what you're
definitely,
doing.
yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been a very special couple of hours for all of us. Thank you, Deepo. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Rich, for producing this show. May God bless you all.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. That was Fetch. Gotta run now. Catch y'all on our next podcast.